Okay, I think we are live. Let's see. I'm pretty sure we are. Yes, we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night Live and the Pelops Dilemma, because this guy is giving a lot of players grief, like serious levels of grief. So I'm going to let a few people come in and then we will get right into it. Mahabas, welcome. Hope you're doing well, buddy. I'm just trying to simultaneously farm some of these Titan events. Hi, Kevin. Welcome to stream. I hope you are doing well. I thought it might be Mohammed. I kind of guessed it by the surname. Anjin, welcome, buddy. Has anyone else realized that they have put so much importance on champion training now when it loads? Because I'm seeing a pattern. The last like 4 or 5 training tournaments, they've put these 4-star basalt things as the final reward, which makes it very, very tempting. Ah, Mohammed, now I know. Now I know. We are obviously getting sacred pandas in my group, which means we ain't winning. Plus, I'm sure the further you get into this game, the harder it is to do champion training, because I've just got nothing worth leveling up. Like, I've already leveled it up. There's nothing left. Right, where is the man of the hour? This guy, who is very conveniently located next to this guy, and I can draw a lot of comparisons between the two champions. Mainly because they're both a complete pain in the butt to build, which is always fun. But let me just see if there's anything I'm majorly slacking on in terms of this Titan event. Because anything that can be done in the background is good. Probably classic arena. That's nice. We can do that. Maybe we'll even throw Pelops in the arena. See what he can do. We've done turn attack. And tomorrow's the big one, isn't it? Champion chase with 2x mythicals on primals. Oh, I'm glad to see that it gives someone luck. I've had really bad luck recently, except for pulling the mythical, what's it called? Relic. That was lucky. Oh, nice. See, Mohammed, that works. I just wish more people would do it. One day I'll have to see if I can find out if there's any info from Plarium, the percentage of the player base that actually competes in live arena tournaments. I would like to know. So yeah, right. A few people are in now. I'm just going to hit up Discord and remind them. And then we will get into the Pelops dilemma. One message. Sorry, guys. I am not prepared tonight. Let's go with a bit of that. Cool. Right. Let's break it down. This guy, right? I think the most common thing that I keep seeing about this champion is that people are having regrets from doing it, because naturally they are going to have watched YouTube videos. They're going to have seen Ash's video, Bronco's video of him doing like 16 million hits in Hydra and stuff like that. But the reality is, for most people, it's probably not going to pan out like that. So I guess we'll do like a live sort of breakdown of his kit to some extent. All right, second buddy, nice to see you. And yeah, Chris, I was the same until I got completely addicted to Live Arena, and now it's kind of my new favorite thing, which I never ever thought I would say. But yeah, I think the key to understanding this champion is to first understand that he's almost got the kit of a mythical. And not because it's better than anyone else's, just because there's so much going on. It's almost like he wants to fit into 3 or 4 different roles, and each of those roles kind of has pros and cons. And unfortunately, they all share a bit of a similar build, which makes him very intensive from a build perspective. If we look at the stats that are even available to us in Raid, there is only one stat that is no use to him, and that is attack. Literally, he wants everything else, and he kind of wants quite a lot of it. So I think let's simplify it and break it down into 2 roles, and then we'll go like 1 step deeper. So you've obviously got your DPS. Like, his A2 is nasty. Like, in the crap build that I've got him built, he was hitting incredibly hard. And obviously it's very conditional because of this stacking damage due to debuff durations. But if you use him as a DPS, you're obviously not going to want to ignore this skill here, which is obviously one of the main reasons that I think most people would have got him. But the problem with running him as a DPS, but using his A3, is you are going to put out Taunt, and then you are going to get absolutely smashed by literally everyone because it works a little bit like Provoke. All right, Steve, I only just started. Don't worry. We're just going over the fact that you've basically got 2 choices. So you've got the DPS option. Obviously, he's going to do crazy damage with his A2. But the downside is he's going to get a lot of aggro based on the fact that he puts Taunt out. And if he gets too much aggro, he's likely to get debuffed, which means the passive effect of his A3 probably isn't going to work, because inevitably you're going to get debuffs. So suddenly you've got a damage dealer, so you're going to need HP, speed, crit rate, and crit damage, plus the accuracy from his passive. But now you're probably going to have to stick 400 resistance on him just to stop him getting completely manipulated in the fight, therefore essentially turning off his passive. And I think this is where people are going to get really pissed off with the champion. Who's in there? Yeah, see, he is going to get stunned. He's going to get completely manipulated by everyone, because it's not very often, maybe with the exception of the mythical called Joan or Joanne, who you kind of need resistance on. So suddenly you've got a DPS champion that needs, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stats already, but now you need to introduce a 6th. And trying to put 6 stats on a champion whilst maintaining good stats, it ain't going to be easy for probably 98% of the player base. So that, I would say, is the first dilemma, because that puts a massive hindrance on wanting to use him as a DPS. Now, the second option we've got is to use him as an absolute meat shield. And I definitely think this might be the better way to play it, because if you build him as a meat shield, then you're already going to be focusing on your speed, HP, accuracy, and probably defense. But I probably wouldn't run a meat shield without an absolute load of resistance. So that's going to play into what you want to do with him. Sure, you could bring a block debuffs champion, but you don't really want an unprotected tank. So I think there's pros and cons to both sides, but ultimately the whole kit is actually held together by his passive, which forces you to take accuracy. So sure, you don't need accuracy for the A1 if you've got an HP burn out there, but you're not going to get an HP burn out there if there's no accuracy. So asking the vast majority of the player base to basically stack this guy with at least 6 stats is going to really, really make people struggle, especially if you then say, right, now I want him to do damage, and you have to bring in other stats. So the first build iteration that I came up with was actually this. Now, courtesy of the blessing, we got a lot more HP. I didn't feel right not having it, but this is hard. Like, I've got good gear, and I didn't use my best gear, obviously, to do this, but even reaching these stats was hard. I mean, look how low the resistance is. It's probably 200 resistance too low. So that instantly makes me not want to use him in 90% of content. And I think most players are going to try this and just go, it's not working for me. This was a shit champion. Why did I bother doing it? And I think that would be a shame. And the reason I say it, Paul Fab, welcome. The reason I say it is because look who's sitting right next to Pelops, and that is the doorstop. And I think I drastically underestimated the doorstop. But once again, he's a champion that fulfills a couple of roles. Like, is he a DPS? Is he a debuffer? Is he a team support style champion? You might not be able to make the champion do everything that you want, so it might actually be better to like pick one thing and actually focus exclusively on that. Otherwise, this guy is going back in the vault, and well, you're just going to get pissed off that you didn't that you wasted all of your I can't talk. You're just going to be pissed off that you wasted all of your fusion resources going for a champion that isn't actually working. Now, for anyone that is just looking for like build ideas, I'm going to leave the masteries up on the screen here. Because my stupid face is covering, I actually went down to War Master for the final one, and I'll explain all that in a minute. Mr. Roger Saar, do I find raid less interesting the more I advance in the game? Sometimes. Like, it's a crap answer because the answer is yes and no. There's a lot of things I no longer find interesting, but it's allowed me to look at the game in a different way, and stuff like that I do find really interesting. The beauty of raid is there is no end. Like, what is endgame? At what point do you say, I've completed raid? If you use something like Cursed City, Grim Forest, or Faction Wars as a benchmark, yeah, sure, you could complete all of it and say, right, I've beat the game, but then something new is going to come out and you're going to want to beat that as well. I think that's kind of the curse and the beauty of this game in its entirety. Yeah, chess versus checkers. I think that's a really, really good way of putting it. Steve, I think you're assuming you're asking if this guy is faction wars worthy. God damn, I need to learn how to talk. And that is the answer is yes. Yeah, I actually can't argue with that. The day you quit raid is the day that you actually beat the game. Because it does play on way too many of our little habits and things like that. UDK 2.0. I guess there is a comparison. I think he brings a lot more to the table than UDK does. Like a whole lot more to the table. I mean, I think the best thing about him is actually the passive on his A3. So, and also the fact that he brings Magma Shield, because that was exclusive to one mythical relic before now. And a lot of people are probably never going to get a mythical relic, or if they do, it's probably not going to be the one they actually want. But I don't know. I think there's a lot more going on with this champion than kind of just a tank or just a knockoff UDK. Yeah, he's going to be very solid in Iron Twins. He's actually arguably one of the better champs for Iron Twins, but obviously you are going to struggle against Magic Affinity. Yeah, I would actually... So I think I mentioned this. I've got a video coming out about this guy. It's either tonight or tomorrow. I don't know what day it's coming out. And I'm kind of summarizing in the video what I'm talking about at the moment, but offering a few little solutions. And I think I mentioned in there that it's almost a shame he doesn't have a heal on him. But I think I did mention that he would be really good in a regeneration set. Or maybe even a bolster set, because that also provides a bit of self-heal. But the guy is an absolute unit. Like, he can do a lot of work. Like, a whole lot of work. The A2 is pretty disgusting if you can get that stack. I took him into Clan Boss, like normal Demon Lord, and he was hitting hard. Even with this crappy build that I've got on him, where he's only got 127% crit damage. Like, that is not a good damage stat. And he was thumping the Clan Boss whenever he had his turn. Yeah, if anyone's interested in what blessing to go for, I actually still haven't decided. I went with Nature's Wrath just because I wanted something on him. But I don't think it's actually the best choice. But it's all going to come down to where you actually want to use him and what you want to use him for. You want to focus DPS? Nature's Wrath is probably the answer until you get a 5 or a 6 star. I don't think... I was considering... Where are you? I was considering Faultless Defense, but then I realized it's nothing to do with a shield. It's to do with placing increased defense, which he doesn't do. So that would be kind of useless on him. I think Intimidating Presence isn't going to hurt. If you do go for the 5 star on this guy, then you've got a 5 star Intimidating Presence for your team. BK, welcome, buddy. See, Paul, I agree. And the more I see people talking about him, the more people are saying, I don't like this guy. And I think the amount of stuff he brings in his kit is insane. And that's why I keep comparing him to something like a mythical. I'm currently working on an Empress deep dive, like a ridiculously unnecessarily deep dive into Empress. And once you start to look at his kit and you realize how this skill activates that skill and it plays off of that skill, this guy is really similar. I would actually say he's not very new player friendly. There is so much going on that, like, what do you do? A lot of players are not going to understand this champion, and I think they're all going to get pissed off that they went for him. Yeah, Brandon, I think Nature's Wrath is the obvious choice for now. And that does kind of lead into, you know, is the Titan event worth doing? And it's really hard to say that no, you shouldn't have a 5 star soul on your champion, because 5 stars on any legendary is top notch. Like, how could you not want it? But when you've got a champion that needs literally every stat available in the game, it almost makes 5 star absolutely mandatory. And I don't want to go blowing shards and silver and energy and books and crap just trying to do all of the events. But it's hard to say that you shouldn't get the 5 star, because it's going to take the pressure off of the build and it's going to actually allow him to be really good. I just wish it didn't cost this much. And I've been trying to, like, cope myself into convincing myself that all of the rewards along the way are actually worth it. But the legendary relic is shit. Like, I don't think I can justify that being a good reward. The epic relic is also pretty bad in the grand scheme of things. So it's a lot. Like, it's a double fusion just to make the original fusion work as you wanted him to work. So it's a bit of a cheeky one by Plarium. I actually think this champ would have been better to not be the fusion. He's a shard champion in my mind. Supreme, hi buddy. Yeah, Paul, so I don't mean he's not going to be good for a new player. He's going to be absolutely amazing. Any legendary champion with this much of a kit is going to be amazing. What I was more getting at is, once you start to look through his kit, if you didn't understand much about Raid, you'd probably scroll through his kit and go, I don't get it. I'm going to kind of do something else. Yeah, BK, that's another way of looking at it. When you are this pinched on champions for the faction, and you actually risk not doing it. But just to push back and be devil's advocate for a minute, when Sylvan Watchers came in, we all dogpiled onto doing as much as we could. And then it wasn't long before all the epics came out, and you can definitely get buy-in faction wars to a certain extent with epics, at least for a little while. So it's kind of hard balancing the hype of the new faction. And I do say this in the video that I released, and that is most people did this fusion because they felt like they had to, rather than because they actually wanted the champion. And it was, we felt like we had to because we have a new faction and we want to stack up the faction. And also we all got one of those tokens for the new / old returning fusion system. So I think a lot of us did it out of obligation rather than because we really, really liked the champion. And I think if you combine that with the fact that a lot of people are going to build him wrong, I think a lot of people are going to rate this champion really badly. And that's a shame because he's not bad. He's really, really good. And yeah, Justin, like you said, epics are getting ridiculous. Like some epics are absolutely disgusting. Brandon, what relic am I using? I haven't put one on him yet. So in the video that I've made, I ended up having to re-record the video about 6 times because I kept being undecided about the relic. So in the end, I just cut it out the video. I don't know. I actually don't know what I'm going to go with. I'm genuinely at a loss. I even went as far as going down into stats and just picking something like speed accuracy and seeing what it would come up with. But the most common one that kept popping up was actually this, the Orb of Transfixion, because it's got HP, accuracy, and speed on it. So, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I think he's worthy of a really good relic, but it's all going to come down to what you've got. I think Golden Elixir is actually really good on him because he's putting out taunt. He is taking the aggro. It's a chance at a little bit of healing that he doesn't otherwise have. Hand of Uncreation, that would be good. That'd be really good. Sorry, I'm just catching up with chat in case I've missed anything. Mihai, I didn't see you there, buddy. But to touch on something that Anjin said about the 5-star being too much for your account, it depends what other resources you've got. You are, I've seen the picture. I know you are sat on an absolutely ungodly amount of shards. So I don't think the shard events are going to be a problem for you. It's just more, do you have the silver to do the gear enhancement? Do you have the resources to do champion training? Because I assume there'll be 2 champion training events. It's basically going to be doing the fusion all over again. Justin, I very much doubt they're going to do that. You know what they're like. Yeah, Volcardiac Heart. That's the last thing he needs, a double magma shield. Although, Robin, when you actually get the champ, try it. Does it put up 2 shields? I don't imagine it would, but it's worth having a look. I never expected normal shields to stack, but turns out they actually do. Yeah, Anjin, that's the same problem I have. As any sort of endgame player has probably realized, champion training is probably the most annoying event because we've already leveled up all of our champions. It does not. Okay, good. In that case, no trolling, Robin. If only I had one of those damn relics, we could actually try it out. But yeah, let's kind of dive in a little bit more onto the concept of how we might build him. Now, obviously, we've probably got not many, accessories for Argonites. Somehow, I managed to get 3 Merciless accessories. The neck is actually not bad. I would have preferred crit damage. But the fact that I could make a 3 set of accessories with accuracy is really lucky, We just got really bad rolls because Raid Shadow Legends. But I think the Merciless is actually a good shout, even just for a 4-set, because you are reducing skill cooldowns. And my favorite triggering option is you could definitely go Reflex on this guy. I think the quicker you can get back to the A3, the better this champion is going to do all around. And if we factor in the A3, I think he's a good candidate for Retaliation set as well, because he's going to get hit all the time. That way he can hit back. So when he gets hit, he's got a chance of doing HP burn and petrification. Plus, if he gets the counter attack from Retaliation, he's going to be putting out decreased attack 100% of the time. So I actually think just a little 2-set of Retaliation is a really, really solid option for him. Or you could do what Ash said in his video and just go triple Perception. Or you could go 6-piece Merciless. I think even like 9-piece Protection, if you can do that. There are an absolute crap load of options, really. Sorry, Mohammed, I didn't see. Well, look, I think we'd all like it if they did. But we all know what Plarium are like. I don't think they're going to I don't think they're going to give us anything like that too easy. Anjin, you will get accessories for Argonites. I haven't done any Spider and got them. I just get them from random bits of like Hydra and bits like that. All of that will come. But if not, just get into Spider and do it that way. Yeah, Mr. Rog, you're absolutely 100% right. There comes a point in the end game where anything mid-tier doesn't cut it anymore. You just want the absolute... It's a min-maxing game at that point. That definitely takes the fun out of it because you'll end up more frustrated that you're never getting what you actually want. I'm going to ascend this and hope that we get resistance, probably, or more HP. HP good. Let's take a bit of that. I'll only take it to 4 because I've been slacking on oils. 9 Mercurial. It's an option. I couldn't work out. No, I wanted to build him in Mercurial, but I don't have an amulet. But that would be very good. But I think most people are going to look like this at the moment in terms of accessories. There's not going to be much going on. So yeah, I think he's flexible in terms of how you want to build him. Even if you went with stats and no sets, he's still going to perform really, really well. It's just a case of getting those stats right. Because the second you start slipping on a stat, he sucks. I think he's going to piss a lot of people off, man. I know a lot of people are waiting until tomorrow to pull him. And I think they're going to be pretty annoyed that they wasted all of their resources. Best set, best relic, yeah. Like Robin said, that's the way. Mohammed, am I going to farm Ice Golem? I already did the one for the Titan event. I've got a really, really fast Golem team, so I just chucked it on, I think it was yesterday, and got my points that way. Supreme, where am I going to try him out? Well, what we can do is, do I have a key? Let's go. So one thing I was playing around with earlier is I just tried, let's try it on Nightmare. How many points do we need? We need 40 million points. I don't know if this is going to work. But what I thought I'd do is just chuck him in with a bunch of random champions. Now, this isn't speed tuned in the slightest. And there's probably actually no point in having Hilvi here because by the time her block damage goes out, everyone's going to have taken a turn anyway. But yeah, the reason I've gone for this is if we think about Pelops and his passive on, sorry, not his passive over here, the passive that's attached to the A3, decreased damage all allies receive by 20% while this champion is not under a decreased defense debuff. Now, if you can't get the resistance, you're going to want to bring someone along who brings block debuffs. So I went with Mausoleum Mage because he's epic, and then that way no one can shit on me saying that I'm just using a whale team. Obviously, you could use like Siphi, Duchess, and crap loads of other champions that bring block debuffs. I went Hilvi. I can't really remember why I chose to go with Hilvi. I just kind of wanted to put her in and see what happens. Plus, she puts out decreased defense. She's probably the weakest link in the team. Obviously, you'll want to bring a speed booster with him so that you can get him back to his skills as quickly as possible. That's why I went with Deacon. But there is another reason I went with Deacon. He puts out 2 separate debuffs, and the more debuffs you have on the enemy, the harder Pelops' A2 is actually going to hit, because it's going to allow it to stack a little bit higher. So debuff heavy teams are going to get you the best out of him. Hey, fuck off, Beef. I don't have a Senna, man. You know I don't have a Senna. Senna haunts my dreams. The tiny little white-haired sorceress. Yeah, I agree. Supreme, anyone that's pulling tomorrow, good luck. We definitely want mythicals. So yeah, I don't mind running this team. I don't really care if it reaches the key or not. We just need to get, what was it, 40 million damage or something like that. I think it's worth a try. And obviously I bought Phoenix in because he's freaking filthy. So he's bringing decreased defense as well. So we're overlapping the same buff many times. But he has got decreased speed. He has got block buffs. So it's just more buffs on the enemy so that hopefully Pelops can actually do something. But this is not the team that I would say, right, this is what I'm going to run. I think you should replace... In fact, let's do it. Let's replace Hilvi with someone that puts out lots of debuffs that isn't just a Kraken champion. Ideally an epic. I would say Ruella, but we've already got double decreased defense. Probably no point in bringing Geo because the Pelops is going to cover the burn side of things. Chat, if you've got any suggestions. If not, we'll take Lydia or something like that. Fayne, that's a good shout. I don't think I've got one built. Let's have a look. But anything with many debuffs is going to be good. Yeah, my Fayne's not built. I won't build her for the live, but she would be a very good choice. We've already got decreased defense. We've already got decreased attack with Pelops plus burn. I don't know. It could kind of be anyone. Weaken would be nice. We don't have Weaken on the team. Madam Ceres, yeah. Yeah, I thought about Fat Man, even though I would be doubling up on buffs again because he brings HP burn and decreased defense. Basically, we just want a very debuff heavy team. I mean, I think it would be quite funny to bring in a debuff extender and chuck someone like Calvalax in there, because then you're always going to have a crap ton of poisons. Yeah, as the Dark Beluga said, Xeno. I'll tell you what, Mohammed, that's a really good shout. Let's bring Xeno. That's the best shout so far. Venomage would also be another good one because obviously heal reduction, and I think that means the boss does less damage. Yeah, I would be torn between Venomage and that. We'll start with Xeno, and then we can always burn some gems for a key if it doesn't work out. But Mausoleum Mage, the only reason he's in here is to do a little bit of healing plus the block buffs, because this team cannot heal itself outside of the leech provided by Deacon. So yeah, there's no speed tuning. I don't even know if Xeno's built. That was kind of stupid. But let's just roll it. And one other thing that I never realized before today, because I've never had a champion use taunt, is the clan boss will target the champion that's got taunt on them, regardless of affinity, regardless of anything like that. If Pelops has taunt, the clan boss is going to target him. Now, I don't know if taunt can be extended. I haven't looked into that. So I'm just catching up on chat, see if there's anything I've missed. Toby, good to know. Like I say, I've never actually used it. I don't think I've ever used a champion with taunt before. Not in this kind of context. Crimson Desert? I actually don't know what that is. Not too sure. Gaming Boy. Should you go for Newt first? It's a tricky one because he is a bit of a cheat code for progression in stuff like Fire Knight. But I probably wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, yes, everyone is going to eventually want a Newt. But it kind of depends where you are, how much resources you've got, and whether you're going to be okay skipping a fusion later down the line in order to get Newt. I think the idea of at least working towards him is probably going to benefit your account. Abdullah, would Pelops interfere with Geo's passive? Yeah. As Toby said, if he replaces Geo's burn, then it will no longer reflect damage. But I think Pelops, considering the build, he's got no crit damage whatsoever. He's doing relatively adequate damage. Let's see what he does on his A2 whenever that comes up. Should be his next skill. But there's a lot more debuffs out there now. Hold on, if I just take it off auto and let's count. So it's per turn remaining on debuffs. So if we chuck a few more on, it's technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So in theory, at the moment, he should be at his maximum DPS capacity. It's just that I've got shit DPS gear on, so it's not going to be great. But let's put it on 1x speed just for the hype. What does he do? See, 337k, considering his build, is actually disgusting. That's really good. Like, we can't go wrong with that. Mihai, I do not have the owl. I really want the owl. So yeah, because Taunt's not up, now Clan Boss is just targeting Morsley and Mage. Yeah, that's kind of why I want the owl, just basically for the bloody A1. If he had max HP here on his A2, he would be nasty. But if you set him up right, he's basically doing the equivalent of a max HP hit. He's going to be hitting really hard. Also, max HP hits are capped. If you built this guy strong enough, he would do more than 10% damage, especially if you ramp up the debuffs enough. Yeah, I can't remember what the target score for this was. I think it was like 40 million. So if we can one key this without any setup, I mean, I didn't do a team preset. There's no speed tuning. I'm not entirely sure if Xeno has even got all of the gear on. Then I would say that's pretty good for a slot-in champion. Oh, one jick. That's a good question. Personally, I would probably book Mikage before Empress if you're still progressing. But if you're past progression, I would probably book Empress. Mikage is awesome. She does not get the love that she once did. If she was a UFC fighter, she'd beat everyone, but she kind of just does a little bit of everything. Yeah, hopefully. I think the boss is going to start doing a lot more damage now. I guess the one problem with me taking Hilvy out is when Phoenix dies, I'm not going to be able to bring him back. So that might be something to consider for team building. Paul Fab, not really. Well, he's going to do good damage if you put him in really, really good gear, but it's going to be nothing compared to if you use his shield passive to create more damage. Ah, Wonjik, you're lucky. I wonder how many people's accounts are going to change tomorrow with 2x on the primals. Gaming Boy, I think when it comes to ally attack, stacking on ally attack, I don't think it works. I think it only counts from the original champion. Otherwise, things would get real crazy. But if I'm wrong, let me know. See, Mohammed, I think this champion in Pelops is definitely going to put you on your way there. It's just going to require speed tuning to make it work. Yeah, beef. Ain't that the frickin' truth? The way I look at it is the next mythical I'm probably going to get is the one that I have the least amount of stars for when it comes to a soul. So I've got loads of 6-star mythical souls, but I've also got a few 1-star mythical souls, so I can bet that the next mythical I pull will be one of the 1-star ones. Anjin, will I pull tomorrow? Yeah. I don't spend my primals on anything else. I don't pull them for champion chase. I don't pull them for literally anything, only when it's 2x mythicals. I just wish I could have the same willpower when it comes to void shards, but I do not. I am weak. Yeah, Mohammed, I think that'd be a really good idea. I think this guy is going to bring more to that team than UDK, even though UDK is really good. But look, one thing I'm happy about is we have gone way past the 1 key requirement. Now, this is, for anyone that tuned in after we started, this is Nightmare, not Ultra Nightmare. So kind of take that with it as well. But the boss is finally starting to ramp up his damage, so I think Pelops is probably going to go down pretty soon. Anjin, I've never fucking seen a single player with as much willpower as you've got as an early game player. When you sent that screenshot of your shard collection, I nearly cried. And yeah, Supreme, I think Voids are the most hype. Some of the most disappointing as well. Beef, which one is Vestel? I keep seeing the name and I can't remember which champion it is. And Mohammed, I reckon if you replace UDK with this guy and put a decent build on him, I think you'll probably get another 10 million or so damage. Because all that mitigation you're going to do with the magma shield is going to be nuts. And for anyone that knows evidently a lot more about this game than I do, when it comes to magma shield, doesn't it also reflect damage? It's kind of got a built-in reflect passive to the shield. I might have made that up, but I think that is absolutely true. Yeah, Mohammed, I'll show you in a minute, but it's not a very free-to-play friendly team. It's an absolutely disgusting team. Yeah, unless Pelops A2s, there was no leech out, so Pelops is going to die probably. Unless he gets a shield out in time. He does. Oh, that was close. We need... Yeah, see, this is where I think Venomage might actually be better. The problem with Xenomorph is he fills up the buff bar, the debuff bar. So now I can't get leech out, which means Pelops is going to die. Yeah, there he goes. So that is kind of the end of the run. I'll let it run out until the very end. Okay, good. So it does reflect damage. half the damage it absorbs. Ah, good man. I also bought Predator because, well, just because I did. I'm weak. Why not? Fuck it. Okay, so this team has survived a lot longer than I thought it would. Okay, so 73 million on Nightmare with no speed tuning and absolutely no free plan, plus doubling up on a bunch of buffs. We had no weaken. I would argue that's pretty disgusting. Now, we probably should detract some of Phoenix's damage because mine's built kind of crazy. But even if we took that down to, say, 20, maybe take 15 million off this, you're still in one key territory. I don't know. It's very odd to find a champion to just slot into a clan boss team and actually get really good results out of him. Paul Fab. It depends. Did you go for Pelops? And are you going for the, what's it called? The Titan event? It's hard to recommend whether you should pull Primal Shards or not, because I'm going to say it's almost irrelevant what stage of the game you're at. If you've got a bunch of Primal Shards and there's a 2x Mythicals on, I kind of think you should pull it, because if you pull a Mythical, GG. You're going to do very, very well. Also, just because it might literally be my new favorite thing in the world, the Phoenix build is utterly disgusting. And I think he can actually outdamage almost every other champion on my account now. Look at that. In 8.5k attack with that. Disgusting. I love it. I think Phoenix is kind of one of my top 3 favorite champions in the entire game. Paul, if you've already got infused, I would say pull your primals for 2x mythicals. Yeah, Mohammed, I would do it. The only thing I would check, and this goes to everyone, don't make the fucking mistake I did. Plarium are cheeky, as we know. Sometimes 2x on primal shards isn't 2x on mythicals, it's 2x on legendaries. If that's the case, do not pull your primal shards, like do not even touch them. Just pull them when it's 2x mythicals, which I think is tomorrow. Yeah, Brandon, the Phoenix is just, ugh, he's nasty. Like really quite nasty. Yeah, K. Curtis, this is exactly what's changed my mind as well. If there was no 2x mythicals, I wouldn't be going further in the Titan event. But I am starting to think that I probably should go for the 5-star. But I'm still slightly undecided. Like, I am low on shards at the moment. I never let myself get this low on shards. And the 7th anniversary is not over yet. Trust me, Plarium are going to throw something big at some point soon. Probably as soon as the Titan event ends, they're going to do a crazy summon thing. So it's just kind of knowing what to pick and what to skip. Okay, Vushan, that makes sense. Yeah, if anyone's got any questions about Pelops, I'm happy to try and answer them. But I actually think the whole champion is just a bit of a mindfuck because everything rests on everything else. There's pros and cons to everything. One thing I didn't touch on earlier, if you don't build him for DPS and instead build him as a tank, which is actually what I think everyone should do, the second part of his A2 is actually really awesome. So sure, you're not going to do the crazy damage, but if your damage doesn't exceed 50% of the target's max HP, you're stealing all their buffs and placing a 2-turn stun on them. 2-turn stun is miserable to be on the receiving end of. Plus, it cannot be resisted if they're under HP burn. So I genuinely think the most logical way to go with this guy is to build him as a tank. And then if you've got the gear to get more damage out of him, add that at the end. I don't think damage should be his priority. It seems illogical to make it the priority. Yeah, K Curtis, that's kind of true. I mean, I think I didn't go for the last Titan event, and I've already forgotten what champion it was for. But annoyingly, I think it was Cassandra. I actually ended up like getting the mythical book without even really trying. And in hindsight, I might as well have just gone for the full event. But luckily, I don't really care about Cassandra. I still think she's pretty weak. But then I've never really given her a deep dive and actually worked out what she's all about. Yeah, it was Cassandra. I think 9-piece protection on this guy would be solid. Like, really, really solid. I mean, you do not want that buff stolen. You do not want the enemy to get taunt. And you don't want them to get magma shield. So 9-piece protection, I would say, is probably one of the top 3 options to run this guy with. It's just that if you're anything like me, I've never really kept protection gear that has damagey sort of stats. So you might find that protection is good, but you're going to really lack on the damage. And also, just the last part of your question, GeForce. 9-piece protection plus lightning cage. Whilst I think that's a really good combo, I would probably be more like 6-piece protection and lightning cage, because it's only going to protect buffs that can be stolen. And if you're in 9-piece, a lot of the buffs you put out cannot be stolen. So I think 9-piece protection with Nature's Wrath would be really good. If you're only going like 4-piece or 6-piece protection, then maybe you'd want to consider lightning cage. But that's if you're going PvP. I probably wouldn't bother with lightning cage if you're just going to use him for PvE. And Steve, does he synergize with Cassandra? Honestly, I couldn't tell you because I don't even know what Cassandra does. Let's have a look. I mean, if she's getting, I mean, if you, okay, sorry, I mean, yes, you could take away his accuracy if you were going to always run Cassandra and rely on her to put out the buff, the HP burn debuff, sorry. It would be an option. Double stunning, I guess this is probably what you mean by the synergizing. So if you do more, yeah, I would actually say they probably would synergize quite well. Plus, you'd be stacking Shatter plus Magma Shield. That's not going to hurt. Yeah, I would actually say that they would make a very good duo. I think one can fill in for the other. If I was going to run Cassandra, so let's say Faction Wars, if I'm going to run them both together, I would consider maybe dropping the accuracy on Pelops. But then you are going to miss Petrification. Blessings aside from Nature's Wrath. Let's have a look. I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but my short answer is I don't really know. It depends on the rest of the team. I think running him in Intimidating Presence would be really, really good. I could probably better say what ones you shouldn't run him with. So things like Miracle Heal is going to do nothing for him. Phantom Touch is going to be pretty useless. Faultless Defense is going to be useless. Probably wouldn't go with any of the rare ones for him. But, you know, you could consider going with Cruelty. If you need a champion reducing defense on the enemy team, you could go with Cruelty. If you were hellbent on the idea that you wanted to take him into PvP, maybe you could consider Incinerate, but I think it would be a little bit of a waste for every other area. Brimstone's not going to hurt. You're going to build him with accuracy anyway. So Brimstone would be a good choice for PvE. Yeah, I think as Vushuan said. Yeah, like Second said, the emergency heal, actually. I hadn't considered that. At 5-star, I guess you're getting a 9% heal. Depending on where you go with your masteries, you might be able to bump that a little bit with rejuvenation. So one thing I'm probably thinking is I'm probably going to reset his masteries and I'm going to go defense support. And I would definitely consider rejuvenation as a mastery. That's going to up the healing. Chuck that with emergency heal. That's actually a good idea. There's just so many damn things to think about with this champion. You could even run him in the lead to reduce your resistance requirement. Let me just check. Do I have a window open? I am just checking Hell Hades' website because I want to know how much resistance you need for faction wars. Let's go. Hold on, I can drag this onto the screen so it's not too boring. Let's go. We'll just go any faction wars, hard, stage 21. So the maximum amount of resistance you're probably going to need on this champion is 530, which is not completely unreasonable. As far as end game content goes, 530 res isn't crazy for a tank. It might suck for a DPS. Mohammed, let me check. Got to find the damn mastery first. Merciful Aid. You could do, but I guess it makes it a little bit more conditional. Because that's all going to hinder on whether the target has any of those buffs up at the, debuffs up at the time. I figured I'd go with Shield Bearer just because it seems a little bit more overall consistent. It's less of a shield, but it's going to be 5% more every single time rather than relying on the conditions. He's immune to stun. But bear in mind the shield's also going on other people. I think that's what the... Yeah, so this... I mean, Merciful Aid would help shield other people a bit more. But I genuinely think one of the best combos with this guy is to just bring block debuffs on another champion with him. And then that way you're always keeping his passive on his A3 active. And you're just kind of reducing that risk of things happening. Yeah, I mean, for a lot of players, reaching 540 resistance is not going to be crazy. But the lion's share of raid players are not in that category. And that's why I call this guy the dilemma. Because for an end game or late game player, this guy's not going to be too much of a problem. But for the majority of the player base, even reaching the stats that I've got on mine, which aren't very good, are going to be really, really difficult. Like, it was a long time before I could get 90k HP and a bunch of speed. But then you start adding everything else he needs into it. And yeah, it's not going to be easy for a lot of people. One thing I did consider when I was building him and playing earlier, and I won't be able to make it work, but I think he could probably solo stage 24 Spider if you put him in regen. Because he puts up taunt and shield, everything attacks him, so they get burned, and therefore the spider will just burn itself to death. That could definitely be a thing. It might just come down to making sure the boss can't actually out heal you. But it would work in the same way that you can solo stuff with Drexthar. It's kind of the same thing. Yeah, exactly, Anjin. And don't worry about it. Like, reaching stats to make this guy absolutely awesome is definitely a late game thing. Just focus on your Great Hall, because that's going to take the weight off of the builds, like, massively. Don't know if we can just throw him into an arena team. Let's replace Marius with Pelops. Could try. I mean, I could just chuck a new build on him. I've probably got a preset that we can do. Is he even going to get a turn? Not a lot of debuffs out there, but let's just make him make Fabian go away. No, see, it's not great damage if you don't have the right setup. That was really weak. Oh shit, yeah, I didn't even notice there are a lot of people in. Thank you all for joining. Absolute legends. Keika is how fast is my Arbase? I would have to double check. He's, I don't know, about 410, something around that mark. Let's have a little look. And then what we'll do is we'll put Pelops in regen and see if we can solo the spider, and we'll see how many stages we can actually solo. So our base is 416 in terms of speed. Now let's find Pelops, and what about if we give him, let's check I've got a preset. I do. Can we go? I think I have one for soloing. This might work. Yeah, this actually might work. It's pretty much better than what he's already in. We'll go that, and we'll put the elixir on him. And we'll just put that one on. I won't worry about gem sockets and stuff like that. Let's just see if it actually works. Dungeons, spider. I'll tell you what, I'll start at stage 20 just to save Pelops the embarrassment. He gets a little bit camera shy. And I won't make a preset. I will just click on and leave it on auto. So yeah, this is going to be the aim of the game. Everything's going to attack him. They're going to get burned to shit. Plus petrification. I think the spider is just going to eat them all. So it's going to come down to whether we can actually out damage it. At least he targets the spider. I was worried that he might target the ads. So at least we know his UI isn't completely broken. Not UI, AI. Sorry guys, it's been a long day. Terry Koenig, I would need to check what the Skull of Treason does. I can't remember. There's so many relics now. Anjin, I think he'll be very good in both. I think he'll be really good for Hydra in general. I can't see why he wouldn't be good. You're just going to have to be aware that he is going to get targeted and he is going to get his buff stolen. So once again, you're going to need a crap ton of resistance. GeForce, I have got him fully booked. Yeah, I don't really know how this is going to plan out because we might just get stuck in a loop where we can't kill the spider and it can't kill us. But I would say that's a good thing. Because if he's got taunt up, you could bring in a really gnarly DPS and beat him down that way. Like, I think he'll do it. It's just not gonna be quick. He's taking a little bit more damage than I'd like him to be taking, though. But again, it's not really a tuned build. Plus, he's still in his 3 merciless accessories that are probably doing nothing for him. I think he's all right. It's just slow. He's currently in regen. I think the other part of the sets that I put on him was a little bit just broken mixed sets. But you could go regen retaliation, but then he's just going to hit the little spiderlings. Now, if he had activate HP burn on his A1, this would be almost comical. But he's doing it. Yeah. Okay, so it took a lot of turns and it took quite a long time, but the fact that he can do it is actually brilliant. Does he need 100% crit rate? It depends what you're trying to use him for. If you're just exclusively going for tank, no. But I think it's nice to have 100% crit rate on him, just where you can. On this particular build, because I've flipped him over to regen, no, he doesn't have it. And it could play into his A2 a little bit nicer. As I mentioned earlier, if your A2 doesn't do 50% damage, you're basically stealing all the buffs and replacing it with a 2-turn stun, which is absolutely huge. Yeah, with a bit of tweaking, probably make that a bit better. I'm actually going to chuck him back in his regular gear that I've settled on. So with the build I sort of worked out earlier, I focused on all the important stats and I just made sure that I got him to 100% crit rate. Any extra damage is simply a bonus. It's not particularly intentional. He is a bit low on defense. Probably why he's getting slapped around a bit. Can he do it in a DPS build? Well, I tried earlier and I just couldn't keep him alive. And I think I tried it in exactly this gear set. But I wouldn't say it's a DPS build. So, do I have a DPS preset for HP? Actually, don't think I do. I can call upon the optimizer. We can always have a little look in here for a minute. What's his name? Oh, he's right there, right in front of me. Wake up, Dan. So if we optimize for damage, and I'll drop the speed down to like 220 just to make it a little bit easier on the optimizing. Terry Koenig is 366 accuracy enough. It depends on what you're trying to do with him. No, see, no, Anjin, don't be put off. This is the dilemma. This is the whole point of why I'm doing this. Most people are going to be like, shit, this champion is not working for me. Brandon, yeah, I could take it from Empress. That's a really good idea. He is going to help you more eventually, but don't write him off just because you can't get the stats. Focus on just one part of his kit. Just build him like a tank. Just HP, speed, and accuracy, and cope with that. If you can get resistance on him, win-win. But just focus the HP, speed, and accuracy, and he'll at least do his kind of tanky side of his kit a lot better. And obviously, he's going to massively help in Faction Wars. Let's... I just need to make sure I've got a preset for Empress so I don't break him. Let's just double check. We'll delete that one and replace it. What's he in? Is he in lethal? Okay. I'll save it as a global preset. And let's find the man of the hour. I hate it when that happens. It doesn't actually save the preset. Sorry, guys. I probably clicked something wrong. Let's take the accessories off. I don't know if that's stopping it. HP new. Okay, good. It's down there. Right. Back to Pelops. Right, where's that landed him? Pretty good. Now, I haven't got a crit damage amulet for Argonites at all. So we are just going to have to go with the HP amulet. I think it might be all right. Can have a look to see if we've got something. No, no crit damage amulet whatsoever. So we'll stick to the HP because it will keep him there. I'll have to buy some energy. So this is going to be stage 20 again. Let's see if he can actually do it. I guess the one downside to Spider solo is I don't have debuffs on the actual Spider itself. So the A2 isn't going to ramp up too much in damage. He's only going to ever have one debuff. I mean, it's not great damage. One, 4, 5. It's all right. It's not great. I think he's more likely to die, though. But you never know. Don't worry, Anjin. I actually don't know when Faction Wars is coming out. It still shows as hidden on the Faction Wars page at the moment. Whilst this is doing its thing, I'm just going to run to the bathroom, guys. I will be like 2 minutes. Hopefully he takes it down. That would be really nice. Oh shit, it actually did it. Very nice. Wonjik, I was indeed running Golden Elixir for that. Without it, I don't think it could be done. And yeah, Paul, if he had, yeah, that's 100% right. If we went with Brimstone, that would go a lot quicker. So long as we have the accuracy. That's quite impressive. Now I want to know if he can do stage 24. Or hard stage 1. That's probably a bit of a push. I think we should try hard stage 1. But he might need to go back in his regen build for it. I'm not too sure. I will leave it up to chat to decide, because I don't think we're going to do it either way. Fuck it, I'm going stage 1. He's probably going to get absolutely rinsed. But why not? Oh yeah, that's three hits and the shield's gone. Ugh. That's interesting. I didn't realize on the last run that if a spider is petrified, it cannot be consumed by the spider boss. Which is actually really cool. I didn't know that. But yeah, I would need to put regen on to actually do this. So we'll flip back to the regen gear. I'm going to actually do this properly so I don't screw myself in live arena later. I'm going to put Embrace's gear back on him first. And then we'll go Pelops and put the regen on him. Otherwise, someone is going to get a very easy win in arena later. Okay. Stage 1, regen gear with golden elixir. Who knows? Calicris, I didn't, mate. I have no idea what my login for it is. I know the password, I just don't know the email address. So I haven't been able to reset it. I don't think he's going to do enough healing. But you never know. That golden elixir is powerful. Maybe if golden elixir was leveled higher. Yeah, so Steve and Terry, I did not know that that was a thing until just now. So if we look at this spider over here and this one, they're not going to get consumed. Or did they? Or did it run out? I didn't quite see it happen quite quickly. But that one didn't get consumed, so I assume it's a thing. Yeah, Fabian, Mithrala, and Pelops. We'll give it a go. He's certainly surviving longer. I thought he'd be dead by now. Plus, also his masteries, they're not built to do solo content because he's got half of his masteries going down the offense tree. But that boss health keeps going back up to top, so I think we're just going to get stuck in a loop unless he kills us. Yeah, we'll bring Fabian and Mithrala in and see what they can do. I'll give it like 1 more minute. If nothing happens, I'll just exit the run because I can't see us winning this. Yeah, okay, that's over. Okay, I need to just check if I've got Mithrala built. We'll go champion page. Yeah, Mithrala is built. She might just about be able to do it. And we'll go Fabian. I will keep the resistance aura for now rather than taking Fabian's speed. And I think I'll just put it on auto. But it's all going to depend who Fabian targets with the A2. So I'll do it manually. Right, it's only going to put 1 petrification out there. So I think Mithrala is more likely to be the one to do it. And then we'll go with that. Now I'll put it on auto. Who knows? This could be kind of fun. Okay. This is actually quite funny. You almost think this shouldn't work, but it does. Now, how many spiders get consumed? It should only be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's completely broken, which is kind of awesome. Don't tell Plarium, they'll fix it. Yeah, Calicrus, that's the problem. If it was the other way around, we might be all right. Now it's going to be a case of, can we keep Fabian alive long enough? It does seem to be working. Good man, Terry, for the suggestion. I don't know what happened there. I look away for 1 second and all the spiders are gone. I assume Fabian's going to take all of the aggro unless unless Taunt is out. It's a shame that Pelops' A2 doesn't count for debuffs that are on the rest of the enemy team. I think it's just the target and himself. Otherwise, his A2 would be absolutely just killing everything. But it is slow. It's like painfully slow. I was just about to say, if you could get heal reduction on the boss, you could probably make it work, but he's immune. Yeah, burn activator would be the next step. I think the mechanic works, but I think we would then need to bring in another champion. At which point I would say it's probably not worth doing, because then I might as well just run my normal team. I think once Fabian dies, it's probably over. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely not Fabian's role to be doing something like this. But it's interesting that you can actually... I mean, I learned something today. I did not know that the spider cannot eat petrified champions. I assume the same courtesy isn't applied the other way around. Like if you were in Hydra and you somehow got petrification on yourself, I imagine the Hydra probably could still eat you. Yeah, we'll let Fabian die, and then I assume the run will kind of just fall apart. Or speed it up, I don't know. The counter-attack mechanic is really annoying. Nathan, hi mate, I'm doing very well, thank you. Just trying to wrap my head around this new fusion. Hope you're doing all right. What's the time? I'm probably going to probably be doing the live for about another sort of 15 minutes, because I need to go eat some food and keep recording more videos on this random ass champion here. Yeah, it actually does still work without Fabian. I thought the run would kind of fall apart. If the spiderlings were attacking Mithrala, which they might do now, yeah, because she's got the lowest health. Also, it feels a little bit weird that on Pelops' shield, he's basically got Mithrala's head. So I kind of feel like I'm contributing to her demise right now. Yeah, we're stuck in the loop. Sentinel, I absolutely bloody bet it does. That is a pretty nasty starting duo. And it would work without books as well. And yeah, Nathan, so I did a little bit of research into the wand the other day. And even if let's say you've got like 2,000 resistance on a champion and someone with hardly any accuracy tries to debuff you, even if you resist the debuff, you can still throw the wand of submission will still activate and flip the debuff back. So it more reflects the attempt at the buff placement or debuff placement than it does the debuff itself. So yeah, that to me would say it's not a bug. Because if they changed that, it would be really annoying, because all of your high resistance champions, there'd be no point in putting a wand on them. Yeah, Dragonblade. This is the ultimate spider turn attack tournament team ever. But I am going to quit it, man. We've been staring at this for like 9 minutes and it's clearly not going anywhere. I don't know what would happen if I left it any longer. I would imagine Pelops would die. or Mithrala would die, in which case Pelops would die anyway. Yeah, I think the lowest we've got the boss is 50%, and then he heals up to about 70. Okay, I'm going to call it there because there's no point in us staring at it for any longer. But, Terry, that was a very good suggestion. An activator on top might actually make it work. And for some reason, I can't think of a burn activator off the top of my head. Artak. But Pelops is currently in Artak's gear. So I hope at the very least I've actually explained why I think this champion is his own little dilemma. Because, like Anjin said, a lot of people are going to go, oh man, now I regret doing this fusion. And I don't think there's anything to regret. I think this guy is absolutely disgusting. Like, completely and utterly disgusting. He's verging on having a mythical kit, even just because of how much you've got to read. But what he does very well. It's just a case of, can we make him do it all? Nathan, the problem with that... Oh, no, you said Relic. I thought you said with the Mastery, because the Mastery is the one. It's just PvP. I was thinking you meant that one. The Incinerate Mastery. Yeah, Dragon, I use Gizmak too. He's just disgusting everywhere you put him. I'm just going to flip this guy back into the normal gear. But yeah, I don't think there's anything bad about this guy. Like, the only problem with this champion is he's going to be a real bastard to build for most level of player. Endgame champs, endgame players, they're just going to smash through this guy and it'll be fine. Probably not going to level up those banners. I think I need event points, but I'm not going to waste it on accessories because it's so damn expensive. I'm not going to push my luck with this Mercurial gear because I will just end up crying on stream. Sentinel, it's like the absolute best thing that exists in this entire game. I actually did a whole video on it. It changed everything. Like, why take mid-gear champions into a fight when you can just switch your gear and always put your best gear on? And it is so worth... Oh, is this crashed? No. It's so worth spending like an afternoon just making presets and just flip them around. Like this one here, Merciless 2, is like my absolute best Merciless gear. And it usually lives on Toshiro. But anytime I need to do any content that's not Toshiro, I just chuck his gear on them and he wins everything. A bit like if I want to use Yannicka for Faction Wars, I just go Preset Manager, get that on, and now Yannicka has an absolutely insane build and beats everything pretty much in one hit. Probably the best thing they've ever put in Raid Shadow Legends. Keep and Classy, we did Demon Lord earlier and he's really good. He's probably one of the best places he's going to go. If you go back probably about half an hour or so in the stream, you'll see we did Nightmare. We didn't do Ultra Nightmare, we just did Nightmare, and he sailed through. So if you actually built a proper team around him that focused on what he does and making him better, I think he'd be brilliant for it. Actually, I think the right thing to do at this point would be to rate the champion. That doesn't surprise me. Demon Lord being the top. Everyone that's using him is rating him high. That is good to see. I just wish they would change this, like recommended artifacts life. And the player recommendations are hidden. Do not follow this as a guide and build him in that. He will absolutely suck. Guess one thing that we could do, I won't keep the result, but let's chuck him in Hydra Nightmare. I mean, this is so not going to work because he's not built right for it, but you never know. I swear, one of the reasons I might go for the 5-star is because I'm lazy and I can't be bothered to keep scrolling down the champion list to find him every time. It's the worst reason to do a Titan event, but it might actually work for me. Good man, Sentinel. I think he should be rated that high for it. And yeah, well, Dragon, I mean, Raid is life, and life set is just not Raid. And Nathan, I haven't done any live arena today. Is it actually open? It's just about to close, isn't it? Okay, I've only just noticed he's here. 365k in a not very good build. That's pretty good. I'm not sure I'm going to use him for Hydra, but I might consider using him for trials in Chimera, maybe. I think I might not go down the rabbit hole of live arena. I'll end up running this stream too late because I'll start rebuilding everything. GMD, I've got the gear on him now that I used in Demon Lord. So he's in a 4-piece Merciless, 2-piece Perception, and a 2-piece Retaliation. I'm basically just going to run Hydra for, like, let's call it 5 minutes, and then I'll exit the run and we'll see how much damage he did. Yeah, if you're going DPS, I think a 6-piece Merciless would be really good for him. But I just don't think DPS is the way you should build this champion. Not exclusively. I think you should play into the fact that he's a serious tank and put all of your focus there. And if you can get 100% crit rate on top, go for it. But I wouldn't sacrifice other stats to get there, because you'll just weaken him in every single department. He will, Anjin. He will do a good job for your Hydra team. The only reason I'm probably not going to run him in Hydra is because I'm already happy with my teams. I don't think he's going to improve anything for me personally. I mean, he hits pretty average. Yeah. And keep him classy, that's it. He is a support tank champion. Plus, I said earlier in this video, if you go down the DPS route, you're obviously going to end up using his A3, which is his shield, but it's also his taunt. So he is just going to get absolutely nuked if you didn't build tanky stats into him. So I think all logic points to building him as a tank. But I don't know when. I don't know if it's going to be tonight. But I summarize everything that I've said tonight. I pretty much summarize in the video that I've got coming out. It either comes tonight or it comes tomorrow. But it's just a bit of a refresher, a bite-sized version of everything we've done tonight. I don't do any gameplay in it. but we do talk about the kind of pros and cons of the builds. Mainly because I didn't just want to do a champ guide. Everyone's done a champ guide. And I wanted to be different because I'm just like that. We'll run it just up to the 5-minute mark and we'll compare the damage. Might actually be the first time I've watched this team on manual as well. I usually run it auto. I appreciate that, Steve. Okay, so Brandon, what are you basically using him so that the Hydra targets Pelops instead of Titus? Or are you using it so that you can get a shield back on Titus when he gets eaten? See you, Supreme Mate. Thank you for joining. And Leo, greetings to Brazil. All right, so let's pause that and go end battle, not free regroup, because that would be a complete waste of time. What did he do? Okay, so technically he out DPS'd Mikage, who's in a support build. Also, Viral and Lydia, that are both built support. He's never going to out DPS Wukong. But I would actually say sitting at 7 million is actually pretty good. He's maintaining the burns, which is really good. Oh, I'm glad, Sentinel. I try and keep it simple where I can. Not everything in Raid is simple. But yeah, my conclusion is I think this fusion's absolutely awesome. He's just difficult. I'm not going to run him into Fire Knight. He won't really do anything against the Fire Knight. That's probably going to be the... Unless I'm missing something, I think that's going to be his weakest area. He'll be better off in Golem, Dragon, Spider. But if we factor in his kit, he's only got single hit skills. So I don't think he's a contender for Fire Knight at all. If you've got other champs on the team that can take the shield down and you want to use him exclusively as DPS, then maybe he'll be viable. But once again, I think you're just ruining the champion by trying to use him as a DPS. Curtis, it probably does. The reflect from the magma shield was probably doing a lot of that number that we saw on the screen. Yeah, man, I think he's awesome. Like, I'm not going to go as far as saying best fusion in ages, because I think Donatello takes the win. I think he's the best fusion we've had for like a year. Okay, so his Magma Shield counts as a hit. Surely would it not just be one hit? I don't really know. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Counts as 5. Okay. I would have to test that and just have a little look. That's really cool. But then I would have to weigh up a 5 hits better than bringing in another one of my champions. It is all going to, like everything in Raid, it's all going to depend where you are in the game. It's a shame, Anjin, but there are other champions like Donatello. They don't do everything that he does. But yeah, guys, I'm going to call the stream there. I said I was going to go till 10, and I really want to go get some food. So thank you to everyone that joined. Like, loads of you joined tonight. That's probably my busiest stream I've ever done. So I appreciate you all greatly. Please do the like the stream thing because it just helps out a ton. Like I said, I do have a video coming out in the next day. It either comes tonight or tomorrow. That will just summarize everything we've done tonight. So please watch that as well. Like, subscribe, hype, all of that good YouTube stuff that I still don't understand. But yeah, thank you all for coming, and I will see you guys very soon. We'll be streaming on Sunday night. It'll be a much bigger stream, and it won't all be themed around this crazy bastard here. But yeah, take care, guys, and I will see you all very soon.